The Coach's Corner is your source. Baseball, football, soccer, and hoops. The Coach's Corner has the scoop. It's the Coach's Corner with Andy.
Covering Tri-State sports, it's the Coach's Corner with Andy on 92.1 The GOAT.
It's the Coach's Corner.
For local sports in Washington County, according to the Herald Mail, last night in flag football, Boonesboro beat Clear Spring 21-7. South Hagerstown took down Williamsport 24-0. For boys soccer, coming up tonight, Broad Fording takes on Shalom at 5. Smithsburg battles South Hagerstown at South Hagerstown High School starting at 7. And Williamsport takes on Mountain Ridge at 7 o'clock. The MDCC semifinals between Cumberland Valley Christian and Grace Academy kick off at 4:30. In girls soccer last night, Boonesboro got a victory over Catoctin 7-2. And tonight in girls soccer, Fort Hill takes on St. James at 4:15. North Hagerstown travels to Clear Spring High School, kickoff at 7. South Hagerstown travels to Smithsburg High School, kickoff at 7. Liberty takes on Boonesboro at 7 in Boonesboro. And Mountain Ridge travels to Williamsport, that game time at 7. Last night in volleyball, St. James beat Martinsburg in a close one, 3-2, winning by scores of 25-20, 25-16, and 15-8. Northern Garrett also took down Hancock, winning 3-1. Tonight in volleyball, Boonesboro travels to South Hagerstown. The match starts at 6:30. Smithsburg travels to Thomas Johnson. Clear Spring travels to North Hagerstown High School with a starting time of 6:45. And Williamsport travels to Spring Mills, the match kicking off at 7. Last night in Franklin County sports, according to the sports page, the Chambersburg Trojan girls soccer team beat East Pennsboro 3-1, pushing them into qualification for the playoffs. Cadence Decker got Chambersburg on the scoreboard when she converted after a crossfield pass from Casey Wise. The Panthers tied the game, but 11 minutes into the second half, Decker fed a pass to Bree Patel, who tucked a close shot past the defense. Patel iced the game with about a minute to go, taking a pass from Marley Onomastico and scoring the final goal. Coming up for football in Franklin County on Friday night, Chambersburg is going to travel to Cumberland Valley. The Trojan at the Eagles at Chapman Field kicks off at 7 o'clock. It's a Mid-Penn Commonwealth game, and Chambersburg stands at 3-5 and 2-5 in the MPC, while Cumberland Valley stands at 4-4 and 4-3 in the MPC. Also coming up in Franklin County sports with football, Boiling Springs is traveling to the Greencastle Antrim Blue Devils. That game time starts at 7 at Cayley Field. Last week, Greencastle 2-6 and 1-5 in the MPC, picked up a 40-21 win over Juniata. That snapped a 4-game losing skid. Can they still ride the momentum into this week? As for Boiling Springs, despite the loss last Friday, the Bubblers had 3 players go over 100 yards on the ground. Boiling Springs has scored over 18 points per game, but has allowed 43 points per game. Last night, the National League Championship Series Game 3 kicked off with the Dodgers taking on the Mets. The Dodgers defeated the Mets 8-0. The Dodgers had 10 hits in the game, while the Mets only had 4. The winning pitcher for the Dodgers was Michael Kopech, and the loss went to New York Mets' Luis Severino. Coming up tonight at 8:08 is Game 4 of the National League Championship Series between the Dodgers and the Mets. That is going to take place in New York. We'll see if the Mets can rebound, as they now trail the National League Championship Series 2-1. Also happening in Major League Baseball playoff action, the American League Championship Series Game 3 will happen tonight at 5:08 in Cleveland, Ohio. The Guardians take on the Yankees, with Clark Schmidt getting the start for the New York Yankees, and taking the mound for the Cleveland Guardians will be Matthew Boyd. The New York Yankees currently lead the American League Championship Series 2-0. Last night in college football action, Western Kentucky took down Sam Houston 31-14. While Florida International battled UTEP, UTEP came out on top 30-21. Tonight in college football, Georgia State takes on Marshall at 7, and Boston College battles Virginia Tech at 7:30. Last night in NHL action, the Penguins came out on top in a close one against the Sabres 6-5. The Maple Leafs took down the Kings 6-2, and the Avalanche lost to the Bruins 5-3. The Utah Hockey Club fell in a close one to the Anaheim Ducks. Coming up tonight in NHL action, the Los Angeles Kings take on the Montreal Canadiens. The New Jersey Blue Devils battle the Ottawa Senators, while the Las Vegas Golden Knights take on the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Vancouver Canucks will take on the Florida Panthers, and the Dallas Stars will battle the Washington Capitals. The Columbus Blue Jackets will go up against the Buffalo Sabres. The Detroit Red Wings will take on the New York Rangers. The St. Louis Blues go up against the New York Islanders. The Nashville Predators are taking on the Edmonton Oilers. The Chicago Blackhawks are going to battle the San Jose Sharks, and the Philadelphia Flyers will go up against the Seattle Kraken.
It's the Coach's Corner with Andy.
Covering Tri-State sports, it's the Coach's Corner with Andy on 92.1 The GOAT.
We're just gonna chat a little bit about our favorite team here today, the Washington Commanders.
Yep.
So let's touch on the game a little bit last week. Obviously, they came away the loser, unfortunately, but I feel like they played a tough game and they played decent, not as well as they have been, because obviously they didn't come away the victor. But the Ravens are tough to beat, so kind of understandable.
They're a good ball club. The 0-2 start from the Ravens was not unfortunate, but it was just one of those things that I think Commanders fans, well, they're 3-2.
Yeah.
The Raiders beat them. They're beatable, but I definitely think if you're looking at like values for betting and futures and things like that, the Ravens are probably one of the betting favorites to get to the Super Bowl and then probably win it.
Yeah, I agree. If they keep playing the way they're playing now, I agree with that totally. I mean, Derrick Henry's a monster. He's so hard to stop. And then if you do end up stopping him, then you have to stop Lamar Jackson, and that's almost impossible as well. So, and then you got Zay Flowers catching the ball, as well as you still have Mark Andrews, who hasn't even been really a factor yet. He was a little bit of a factor last Sunday, but he's got the potential to do anything. It's just he's been blocking more than receiving. So, the life of a tight end. So,
right. Now, I had a little bit of PTSD because they were talking about Mark Andrews has been nowhere, and then 2 touchdowns against the Commanders, and it was kind of like those old thoughts, like, well, if you need to get right game, play Washington, and you'll get right. So
yeah.
They played well. It was a tough game. They didn't win, but they held their own, I thought.
Yeah, I definitely feel like the franchise is going in the right direction, even with the loss last week. I did not expect the Commanders to be 4-2 right now. Maybe 1 win under their belt by this time of the season. What are we, week 6 going into week 7, right? So
yep.
Definitely wasn't on my radar. But I think they're going in the right direction. The confidence level, like we talked about for the team, was probably at an all-time high, probably the best in the NFL, if I would have to guess, because they probably had the same expectations. I mean, every player wants to win, but you know who your team is, and you know that everything's basically brand new this year. So the expectations were probably up there, but I wouldn't say they were at max level like they were going into last week's game. I think they still ride high on the confidence, but the problem that I see is Terry McLaurin seems to be the only sturdy target, wide receiver wise. Zach Ertz has stepped up in a few games, but Zach Ertz is up there. He's a little bit older. He's not quite the same Zach Ertz that he was when he played for Philadelphia, but they have a lot of other really great young wide receivers. But I've heard rumors that they might go out and try to acquire Deontay Johnson.
I don't know.
I don't know how to feel about that.
I think the window is open, and I mean not like a Super Bowl, but I think if you look at the NFC East, it's not the juggernaut that it's been in years past. The Cowboys don't look like the Cowboys.
Yeah.
The Eagles, I mean, they barely hold off the Browns, and I know Eagle fans will probably be upset that I say that, but 20-16, the Browns are bad.
Yeah.
So I think, offensively, the Commanders are in good shape. Bill O'Brien's played well.
Mm-hmm.
I like Zacchaeus. Like, there's a lot of, I don't want to say journeyman players, but Jaden Daniels makes a lot of those guys look better.
Mm-hmm.
I think offensively, if Brian Robinson is there Sunday, I think that game is different. But
yeah,
the reason I say the window is open is I know the front office is like, hey, let's go through the draft. We don't want to do big free agency, big trades. But if they can win now and get to the playoffs and establish that culture even further, I'd say, shore up the defense, see if there's any cornerbacks out there, defensive backs. Now that Jonathan is out for the year, get some D-line help. And I definitely am 100% re-looking at the schedule right now, where I'm thinking we can compete. There's games on there that I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm expecting us to go in and win.
Yeah, same here. Do you think they'll go after any type of wide receiver in the trade market? I mean, we just had big splashes from Devontae Adams, now Jet. And speaking of the Browns, Amari Cooper, no longer a Brown. He's a Buffalo Bill now. So
Yep. Yep.
I kind of hope they don't, but if they did if they went after Deontay Johnson, I wouldn't be upset, but I don't think it's the right move right now. I think you keep the core that you have and try to build off
Yeah.
that.
No, I agree. I think Dan Quinn has been a lot of like, hey, culture, and we want to bring in guys that share the same mindset, that fit the chemistry. And I think
Yeah.
that locker room is in a good spot right now. So
Yeah.
if they do go out and get anybody, offense, defense, doesn't matter, as long as it is the right guy coming into the locker room,
Yeah.
I'd say go for it. But like Devontae Adams, he's a great receiver.
Drama.
Yeah, I mean, there was a real wild rumor. Well, hey, the Steelers cut George Pickens. The Commanders should go after him. Like, no, I don't think we want somebody that just gives up on plays and
Yeah.
doesn't run routes, things like that. So I think as
Right.
long as the locker room is strong, yeah, add to it. If not, we'll keep going with who we got.
Well, I mean, we'll see this weekend. I mean, we play the Panthers this weekend coming up, and Deontay Johnson is a Panther, so maybe we'll see something, and they'll be interested, and maybe they'll throw the bait out. I don't know, but
I think Frankie Louvu might go over there and be like, hey, things are rolling over here. Well, I came over. Look what
why don't you come on over?
Come on over. Yeah.
I did it. You
Yeah.
can do it too.
Agent Louvu.
I really like. Yeah, I like I said, the guys they have now. Like you said, you don't really want to call them journeymen, but they're more of I'd say situational offensive players. They excel at a certain point. They're not the superstar, potential. Well, I won't say potential because he's already is a superstar. Terry McLaurin, like you could throw to Terry McLaurin anywhere around his body, and most likely he'll catch it. Like it's insane. That one catch he had in the end zone against the Ravens in the last 3 minutes of the game, where his body was horizontal. And on 4th down, and he scooped the ball. I couldn't believe it. I thought he bobbled it, and then watching the replay, his hands, it just amazes me every time.
He's having fun again.
Yeah, and the first 2 games I was, like we talked about that roller coaster. I thought, man, this is going to be a rough season for him. He's not going to want to come back. But I feel like that's totally changed, and I hope it stays that way. I like the young tight end too, the rookie Ben Sinnott or Senat, however you say his name.
Yep.
He showed a couple flashes here and there, and he's like we said, Zach Ertz is up there, so I feel like that's a good combo there at tight end because Ertz can teach him the roles and the how to be a great tight end, and he can learn from Ertz, and he's already a great receiver and a good blocker. I mean, that's all you need to be a tight end. So,
it helps when Cliff Kingsbury's your OC too.
Yeah. That helps. Honestly, when the season started, I thought it was going to be like Jaden Daniels was going to be getting crushed. Now he's taken some really big hits. He took a big one on Sunday in the red zone. He got hit pretty hard. I think he had it was like a double, like someone hit him low and then hit him high, and his body kind of twisted. And he does that. That happens, and you're like, oh God, no. And then he gets up, and you're like, wow, okay, we're good.
It's I mean, this was a lot of not bad memory games, but like the last time that these two teams played each other and it meant something was 2012 RG3. And I can still tell you where I was at, what I was doing when I saw RG3's leg get bent.
Nada took him out. I remember that. Yep.
That was the I forget what I was saying. I was watching the game. Somebody hit. It was Kyle Hamilton. It was one of the. I mean, it was a late hit. Like I can't.
Yeah.
It is what it is. He got pumped, and he's a rookie, so he may not get that call. But if that's Lamar, there's a flag going up, and I just remember yelling out. I'm like, "Hey, is that Kyle Nada out there? Like, are we?" It was just PTSD all over again because I mean the last time we had a guy, it all went away when we played the Ravens. So
that was where he got the nickname RG Knee. I remember that.
Yeah, but he got up. Jaden got up, and he's tough. I mean,
he did. Yeah,
it's he's not a runner like RG3 was. He's a passer first. He's been very adamant about that, and he can run if he needs to. So I think he's gonna be fine. The offensive line, though, too, like I agree. You draft somebody like that, and you expect, all right, we're going to build the offensive line. That offensive line has played, all things considered, they're playing really well.
Yeah.
The rushing attack has gone. I mean, They didn't rush the ball very well on Sunday. The Ravens defense against the run is great.
Yeah.
B-Rob wasn't there. But that offensive line, all things considered, I mean, I think Jaden's going to make sure they get some nice Christmas gifts this year.
Yeah.
The season keeps going the way that they go because that offensive line has done their job
Yeah, I agree.
pretty well so far.
Yeah, I agree. And a lot of those offensive linemen right now are, players that have been on the team when the offensive line wasn't that great. And they really improved. And they added a couple key pieces this past year that I was a little on the fence about, but it's turned out well so far. Could they play better? Yes, they could, but they're doing their job, and I'm gonna knock on wood that they're doing their job because I want them to keep doing their job. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yep.
is Brian Robinson playing this Sunday, or is he still out?
So I don't know. I was looking through stuff. Again, it's kind of retraining myself to be a fan. So
Yeah.
we lost Sunday, and I look ahead and see it's the Panthers on Sunday. This coming up, and I was like, all right, hey, that's a get right game. So I started looking at the injury report. I haven't seen anything yet for Robinson.
Yeah.
I think
only
tomorrow
Wednesday.
is a big day. Yeah, I think tomorrow is a big day for injury reports. So we'll see. I do remember them saying on the broadcast that they didn't think it was a serious thing.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna sit out a game against a defense like the Ravens, it's probably not a bad game to sit out if you're trying to get through a season.
Yeah, I agree. And the Panthers, not saying they're gonna turn over and basically give up, but they're not the Baltimore Ravens either. So I think if he comes back any week, it'd probably be this week, and I hope he does because he was really missed. Nothing against Eckler and McNichols, but they're not Brian Robinson, and Brian Robinson's got that put your head down, I'm gonna run through it kind of mentality, and I love that in a running back. That's my favorite thing to watch.
He's built like Derrick. I mean, he's that Alabama running back. He's built like Derrick Henry. Like I know he's not. Derrick Henry's a beast. He's a monster, but B-Rob's got some of that leg drive, some of that you think he's down, and then 4 yards later, there he is. I mean, he was definitely, you could tell he was missed on Sunday.
Yeah, I was talking to one of my buddies on Monday after the game on Sunday about that last drive that the Commanders had, and then they had to play defense to stop the Ravens get the ball back. And they just kept handing it off to Derrick Henry, and the man. It's like people bounce off of him. It doesn't matter who you are.
It does.
And it looks so effortless. He looks like he's not even trying.
I mean, that's the thing, though, too. People thought that he was washed coming from the Titans.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I think he's got like 700 and some odd yards in like 6 games. Like, it's some unworldly number right now. I think he's like 31 years old. Like, he is still he's a premier running back in the NFL. I don't care what his age is right now.
Yeah.
That game on Sunday showed, like, I've never heard of a quiet 94 yards in the first half, but he had it. And you look up and you're like, oh my God, 12 carries, 94 yards. That's
right.
insane.
Right, exactly. And not to mention, he embarrassed the Buffalo Bills when they played them.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he scored, I think he had 2 scores, and he had a receiving touchdown as well. Yep. I mean, Derrick Henry, a receiving touchdown? Come on. I mean, you can't miss him. He's a huge target.
I know, right?
Yeah. But we'll see what happens with the game coming up here Sunday, and hopefully, like you said, it's a get-right game, and they get back on track.
I think so.
And then we'll see where it goes from there. But, yeah, thanks for hanging out today.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, Andy.
It's the Coach's Corner with Andy.
Covering Tri-State sports, it's the Coach's Corner with Andy on 92.1 The GOAT.
Is there like a season for motocross? Is it motocross or motorcross? Motocross. Okay. So and when's their season usually run? Is it all the time or?
Motocross. Well, motocross is normally in the summer, fall. They just finished up.
Okay. Yeah.
To be going into the Supercross season, which is in arenas like football stadium, AT&T Bank Stadium.
Okay.
Stadium, you name it. Even one of the biggest.
Oh, cool. That's really awesome. What got you into motocross?
Family actually was
Okay.
into it. I was younger.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
My daughter and my sister raced. We raced at the Barber 50. She was one of the first females to race in the Barber 50.
Oh. Wow. 7?
Yeah.
How early do they usually start kids at riding motocross? I guess as soon as you can ride a bike, right?
More or less, they have these things now that I feel electric. It's pretty cool where they don't have 10 miles or it's
Uh
like
huh.
an electric bicycle, but they actually use those to get them used
Okay.
to riding faster, doing all that stuff. And then they get into the 50s, which I think they get into, I think they're called trail brakes.
Yeah.
The big bike for the little kids. It's always a Hornet riding around on the track. Mhm.
I bet. I've been to a few. I've been to a few like local races, and I've seen, occasionally when you drive by out in the country, you see somebody riding a dirt bike on some kind of track they made. But that's about the extent of my experience in it. We don't really. Is there any besides the Bart Perfrucci that you mentioned? Is there any other local places that these races take place, or do you have to travel to see one usually?
And as far as like amateurs, like watch here in
Hmm.
Newburgh, definitely
Okay.
that's where my family lives at.
Okay.
Ramblers, you know where sports is from, young Brady over there. A handful of other ones that are nationally known, and go to those races in order to qualify and hopefully pick them and everything. Yeah.
Cool. Cool. So I don't know. I'm not completely clueless about motocross. I know one name and probably one name only, Travis Pastrana, and
Yeah,
he raced. Yeah. Does he still race, or he does mostly stunt stuff now? I think, right?
he is freestyle cross. He does rally racing, rally cars. Um,
Okay.
I actually remember going when I was in the first cross race I did. It was, man, I want to go there. I forget the name of it. But Creek. Um, and
Okay.
I lucky to go to Creek again. And that was one of my first races I went to. And I kind of was driving. And he was doing hill clickers and while racing, doing flips and flying jumps. It was ridiculous. He was so talented.
Almost like watching a video game in real life.
Oh, yeah, for sure, for sure. It was crazy to see him crash. He's so lanky and tall, and just how he handled the bike with his speed was crazy to see.
Yeah, I bet. So do you do any? Did you do any racing? Do you still do any racing, or do you just prefer watching?
No, like I said, never actually raced. Other than
Mm.
my granddad's house, we have it's called what we call it. Um,
Yeah.
it was like cross and I just love riding. My dad wanted me to get into it, and I just enjoyed it. Now that track has now been turned into a go-kart track, and my dad has like 12 or 13 go-karts that are mounted out, and he just watches
Oh,
them. It's so much fun.
I was gonna say that's like every person's dream is just to have your own go kart track and go kart. Let alone your dad has 12.
Yeah, yeah. I just met up with him recently. I was with him. I went down to the community with the basketball team.
Oh yeah.
There, but yeah, he was telling me he just got 4 cars for playing football. And what I think is
Wow.
like a genius when it comes down to engines and building stuff, and
Yeah.
analytical when it comes down to he could take a pile of scrap metal and make it into what I would call art. Maybe not the art
Hmm.
like art galleries and stuff like that, but if it's got an engine on it, it's artwork to him.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
So, not to change the subject or anything, but I know you don't like to touch on your accomplishments and really boast them out there too much. But I did see on Facebook recently you got inducted into the HCC Hall of Fame. Congratulations. That's pretty big.
Yeah, when I was walking on the or whatever, and, I told them, I'm like, everybody up here was talking about what we did in school and everything like that. I was like, I just really the classroom. You know, I definitely
Yeah.
excelled in my sport, and I think when I
Yeah.
had to be eligible, I was running the call to
Hey.
walk through the Hall of Fame every single day to get to the class. I was always late because that was my goal. Just wanted to walk through that and kind of just keep it into existence. And the hard
Yeah.
work paid off. And, you know, it took 2 national championships to do that. I was indoor and outdoor national champions for junior college. 2 years in a row.
That's awesome. That's a big accomplishment and a huge honor. Congratulations again to you. That's pretty cool. I've walked through those. I've walked through those same halls. I was an HCC graduate myself, but I did not make the Hall of Fame. In fact, I didn't do any sports in college, but still cool to see. And next time I'm through there, I'll be sure to stop and check to find your name. So what I want to touch on is you're into baseball. What do you think? What do you think of the championship series that are going on for American League and the National League right now? Well, first of all, who's your team? Okay, all right.
You know, get baseball, big into baseball. Went to my first baseball
Yeah.
game in the fourth game, and Oakland A's running baseball for me. Playing baseball, and, you know, it's kind of lean for me, but
Yeah.
I think it's with the TV.
Yeah. It's pretty exciting. Yeah, definitely. So I think the National League Championship Series kicked off on Sunday, and right now I believe the Mets and the Dodgers are tied at 1-1. I think they're set to play tonight at 8, I think. But who do you think's going to advance to the World Series for the on the National League side? Yeah, I agree.
Or it took them to the playoff race.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're playing for a spot in the World Series is absolutely amazing. You know, it just goes
Yeah.
they still from the biggest stage and doing their thing. So I
Yeah.
got to give them a on that.
Yeah, and when you're an Orioles fan, I mean, you kind of are used to shifting towards the underdog and rooting for them because the Orioles, not the past couple of years, but before that, were definitely an underdog team. I remember when they made the playoffs back, not recently, but maybe, I don't know, I'm going to say 5 I don't remember what year it was, but back when they got knocked out by the Blue Jays, I was watching, and they were a serious underdog then. But it's nice to see them advance their talent and become better, and I hope it stays that way. It seems like every year, I was talking with one of my buddies the other day, and it's like one year they have pitching in order, and then they don't have their bats rolling, and then or they have their bats rolling and the pitching is out. You know what I mean? It's just like finding that synergy and making sure everything's clicking on all cylinders, and I think they'll get it. They have a young team, so but I'm confident in them. But yeah, I'm taking the Mets too. They've overcome a lot. They beat out one of their rivals, the Phillies, in one of the first series of the playoffs. They just beat a very tough team in the it's escaping my mind who they beat to advance. No, the Padres. Oh no, that was the Dodgers. I'm sorry. Let me see here. The Mets beat the Phillies. Okay, so it was the Phillies they knocked out to get to the championship series. But yeah, they're kind of the Cinderella story this year, and I like that a lot, and I really hope they make it. But the Dodgers are a tough team to beat.
I mean, one
Yeah.
of my favorite movies is Moneyball. And
Yeah, I love that movie
I
too.
love that movie. And it is kind of easy to see, but so much more fast-paced and fun. And I
Hmm.
mean, let's face it, you know, they're going to be paying big-time contracts to some of these players. Like, Barney got what, 10 years,
Yeah,
$500 million. Like, that's absolutely insane.
yeah,
You know, and you have some of these lower budget teams that you can't compete with the financial aspect of it all. But
Right.
develop the team and create that team culture. And I think with developing the team culture and you have everybody that's on the field,
Hmm.
being the same goal, being the same, being like-minded, like,
Yeah.
so like
Hmm.
you do that, you have an opportunity and you have a shot to beat those teams for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Especially in the cap space area of the game. It's like there isn't a cap in Major League Baseball, if I'm correct. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't think the business is crazy to do. I just think it's whatever
Right.
is possible.
Right. As long as you have the money and you can pay the man, go for it. But
Yeah,
like you said, fairness comes into play, and there's a team that's in the American League Championship Series that used to have that style, and that's how they won their championships, and that's the New York Yankees.
yeah.
I am not a Yankees fan, but they're my pick to go to the World Series, unfortunately.
They definitely look strong. They have
Yeah.
big time names in and for most of the season,
Hmm.
like in the field, but mainly on the offensive side with swinging the bat. I mean, when you're what 6'7", 6'8", just a man playing a kid
Yeah,
game,
the dude's huge.
come on, man.
You know,
I'm surprised
it's
he
almost
gets
not fair.
out.
Did you watch any of the game last night where he hit that? It was like 420-foot home run, and it just looked like it sailed forever.
To see baseball travel that far.
I know, I know. It's almost like I said. We go back to the video game aspect. It's almost like watching a video game in real life when you hit a dinger in MLB The Show, and it says 490 feet or 520 feet, and you're like, "Wow, that's cool." But then you see it in real life, and it's like, "Holy!"
Mhm. What's the game that you used to play? PC, ball game?
Oh yes. Oh, I loved that game. That was such a. Oh man, you're taking me back.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just know that they can bring the game. 100% game. Yeah. Like, I love
Oh, for sure. Exactly. I'll be right there with you.
it. Yep.
And it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter if they what they do to it. It's just the fact that they're having another game out. It can be the crappiest game in the world. I'll buy it.
Yep. Yep. The kids that we have game, and
No.
the importance of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I try to get my kids are kind of my oldest is kind of into video games. She's 5, so I let her play every now and then. The kids games, and I introduced her to Sonic. You remember that
Yeah. My son
for the
loves that.
Sega Genesis? Yeah, I introduced her to Sonic, and she's got like a Sonic game on like her tablet. She has Sonic games on like those throwback games on the console, and she plays them all. She loves them, and it makes me happy. I loved Sonic growing up. Yeah, yeah.
Well, kids myself, I got my oldest is actually on sick right now, unfortunately, but
Oh, oh no.
I love getting them on the TV that we watched as a kid, and to be able to watch
Mm-hmm.
it with my kids is amazing. But to be able
Yeah,
to
really cool.
kind of guide like that is awesome.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. So since you're a Baltimore Orioles fan, I can see by your shirt you're obviously a Baltimore Ravens fan as well. What did you think of? I'm a Commanders fan. What did you think about the game last Sunday, Commanders and Ravens?
It was a great game, honestly. From the offensive side, the defensive side was definitely give and take there for the what for 3 quarters pretty much. And
Yeah,
Daniels is absolutely great quarterback. Like I told you before, he's probably going to be the front runner for rookie of the year.
yeah,
Being able to read defenses and utilize his legs and really let the game come to him has been something remarkable to watch. But when you go against
yeah,
Lamar, like I have to wear my MVP for you. When you go up against Lamar, and Lamar's probably hands down the best athlete on the field at any given moment.
Oh, agreed.
So like watching him play the game, he almost played it like we used to play back in the day when we played football with our friends at the park.
Yep.
He's just following with the game and just having fun. He looks like he's having fun, but I love the
Mm-hmm.
competitiveness of like that.
Yeah, and Lamar makes it's so effortless. He looks like he's not even trying. It's like,
Yeah,
and that goes along with Derrick Henry as well. When I was watching the game last week, and Daniels threw that the last touchdown they scored to McLaurin, and McLaurin made that amazing catch in the end zone. I was like, okay, maybe we have a chance here, but defense has to step up. Defense hasn't been the bright spot for the Commanders lately, but they're improving. And then Derrick Henry just trucked it down the field, and it doesn't even look like the man's trying, and people are bouncing off of him. I guess when you're 6'3", 240 pounds, it's not hard.
no, for me, I'm a big guy, so like, I've watched it.
hmm
Derrick Henry, they personally, the Giants.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, I liked Brandon Jacobs too.
I'm better than holding down for the season. I mean, you know,
Yep.
we can't wait, not running people at that, which is crazy.
Yeah, one of the first NFL games I actually went to was a Giants, and it was back then it was the Redskins, and Brandon Jacobs was still on the team. They had Eli still. It was when the Giants were, I think it was before their Super Bowl, one of their Super Bowls. I can't remember which one, but it was the very first game I went to, and the normal running back size, like five between 5'9" and 5'11", maybe 6 foot, 220 at the most. And then I see Brandon Jacobs like 6'4", 6'5", and the man's like 240, and I was like, wow. And then you watch him run. Yes. Yeah, I'm more in shape. Well, not saying Trent Williams is not in shape. He's in shape for his position. But yeah, dude, it was nuts, and I could not believe it. No, it's not. It's really not. Especially when he gets through, the front line and the middle linebackers, and he gets into the secondary. Those cornerbacks, some of them are, 180 pounds soaking wet. They're half of what he weighs almost. So, yeah, it was cool to watch. And even though I highly dislike the Giants, Brandon Jacobs was one of my favorite players to watch. I liked. I was just talking about this the other day. He was a Cowboys running back, Marion Barber. He wasn't quite as big, but he had that style of running. I loved watching him play too. But man, I hated when he scored against us. Whew.
Yeah, I think this year is really good because like, I don't remember having we're in what week 6 of the season. I
Yeah.
really don't remember having this many close games.
Mm-hmm.
You have some
Yeah.
blowouts, you have some low-scoring games that before, but we're seeing both sides of the ball being played really well.
Yeah.
And it's definitely great TV, and
Mm-hmm.
love. I just watch football. My wife, why you watch that team? That's your team. I just want to see
And my
hit each other.
my wife would say the same thing. Yep.
You
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll sit there and watch the Washington game, but I'll flip back and forth between whatever other game is on, or I'll have Red Zone, and my wife's like, "Why do you have this? Don't you just want to watch the Washington game?" I'm like, "No, I want to watch all the games. Like, I like every aspect of football."
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I think the only undefeated team left are the Vikings, right?
Yeah, my wife's team. Wife,
Oh,
wife
okay, good year for her.
my wife's a purple.
Okay, so she likes it because they're purple.
She likes the team.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think that's, you want to talk about crazy, team coming together. Like, Sam Darnold's like the quarterback, isn't he? I mean,
Yeah,
he was more like
didn't ex- didn't expect that. Yeah.
terrible pick, and he's over here carrying the team to 6 outside. Like, what? That's crazy. But I think at the end of the day, I think the best part of football is that these commentators and people will talk about, oh, it's the quarterback. The quarterback is why the team is winning. No, the team is winning because the team is winning. Yes, the quarterback
Yep.
is the one that controls the offense. No,
Mhm.
the obviously people on the defense control the defense. But if you don't play all phases of the game and you don't play well, you will not win. I don't care how good your
Right.
offense is. If you're not playing defense and you're putting it all on the offense, it's only so long before the offense has a 4-and-out and they lose the game. Is that the offense's fault or is that the defense's fault? Like the offense can
Right.
do only so much, and the defense is
right? And I think it comes down to coaching too.
Yeah.
Not saying Sam Darnold wasn't decently coached when he was a Jet, but I think his coaching situation now and the style of offense that he's in is a lot more appropriate for him, and that's why he's excelling. But it's cool to see him. I have him on my fantasy team, so I'm happy. I did not draft him. I picked him up.
Yeah. Well, and,
I don't think anybody took Sam Darnold.
people give because he's a
Mm-hmm.
scheme quarterback or he's a situational quarterback or whatever the terminology or verbiage that they use.
Yeah.
As an athlete myself and as a coach, my job is to utilize my athletes to get the most out of them and do something
Right.
that's going to benefit them, which ultimately benefits the team. So that's it. We're winning.
Right.
You know
Exactly.
what I mean? Like,
Exactly. That's the end goal. Yep.
how, commentators. And the funny thing is, some of the commentators never played it down in the life.
I know.
If you'd like to be featured on the Coach's Corner with Andy, email coach at 921thegoat.com.